What's up guys, Houndish here, and today it is time for some Destiny 2 news. We do have some pretty exciting stuff to talk about today. So of course this week we've seen the introduction of Arc Week, and this comes with the April update. We've got a bunch of really cool changes, a lot of the stuff we've already spoken about on the channel, but on top of this today we have some new information about the Revelry event, and one that I know a lot of folks will be interested in is that we now know how we'll acquire the Arbalest linear fusion rifle, which of course is a new exotic for this season, so we'll touch on that, as well as some powerful gear upgrades that we'll be able to get in the Revelry as well. We also get a look at some of the new rewards, but there are some pretty interesting updates to exotics in the game, so we'll touch on those, and some exploits that you may have heard about where folks were farming enhancement cores, and Bungie have responded to this. This will have a bit of a knock-on effect for players in the game, so we'll touch on that, some of the rewards, quests, and updates that are coming up. So yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about, so if you guys enjoyed this video, a rating below really helps me out, but without further delay, let's jump straight into it. Now first up, one of the things that a lot of people were talking about would be the Wavesplitter exotic. Now, it appears that this one is dropping on all platforms, and there was some speculation that this was now going to be, legitimately available on any platform. But Cosmo did put up a forum post and said, "We're investigating an issue where the Sony exclusive weapon Wavesplitter was made available from Xur on Xbox and PC. We are currently working on a fix, and in the meantime, Xbox and PC players who acquired the weapon will be able to use it, but after the fix goes live, they'll still have it in their inventories, but will not be able to equip it until the weapon enters the general exotic loot pool in September 2019. So pretty interesting. If you've had the opportunity to pick up Wavesplitter from Xur, then you can keep the weapon, and it'll essentially be disabled once Bungie get a fix out. However, once they officially release it for all platforms, you'll be able to start using the one you've got saved if you have had one dropped early. But of course, you may have noticed, and this was a missed patch note from the update, but Faded Engrams on Xur now have a chance to grant Forsaken exotics. So any of the exotics in the game essentially can drop from Xur's Faded Engram. That is of course apart from quest exotics. DMG added that it is a completely random chance to get Year 2 exotics, so I'm not sure if it still features the knockout system like the Gear 1 stuff, but on top of the fact that Xur now has random rolls for all of the armor pieces every week, yeah, that Faded Engram has been updated, so pretty cool stuff. We should mention briefly, Bungie also deployed a fix to the invitations of the 9, and so basically make sure you complete them before Thursday each week to ensure that you get the next week's invitation on Friday. There is a new lore book dropping from Gambit Bounties as well, may as well mention this one here, but it's called A Man With No Name. Some pretty cool stuff in there about Shadows of Yore, so yeah, look out for those lore pages when you turn in Gambit Bounties. The final thing before we talk about new content next week, if you are wondering about the Sentry set, that's actually been disabled because of an exploit, and at this precise moment, it is still disabled in the game. Bungie do say they're hoping to have an update on this one very soon, so I will keep you guys posted. But now, let's talk about upcoming content for the Revelry. And of course, as I mentioned, we're going to speak about Arbalest. We now have a confirmed drop source for this. So in the Revelry event that kicks off next week on the 16th of April, we're going to get some new kind of verdant bounties, and these will reward a new currency for the Revelry. We don't actually know what the currency is called because it's classified, but from LightGG, Arbalest is listed as a purchasable item in Eva Levante's inventory for 300 of this new currency. So of course Eva Levante is returning as the event vendor this year, and we can actually see Arbalest in her inventory in the database as well. So in general, it appears that we'll have to kind of grind the Revelry content, as well as some other stuff which we'll speak about in a moment, and that will give us a currency that we can ultimately use to purchase Arbalest. So we will get a series of daily bounties for Revelry. One example would be pulling weeds, where you need to get super final blows in the Verdant Forest, and this will reward 25 of this new currency. And the bounties are actually for a bunch of different activities, so it won't all be in the Verdant Forest, which of course is the new mode for the Revelry. And generally, we do see a few daily bounties each day at different vendors. The one thing we don't know is if the new currency will drop in the Verdant Forest, randomly without the bounties, but theoretically, it could just take a few days of completing daily bounties to pick Arbalest up. So there we go, pretty interesting stuff, and some of these daily bounties include things like getting ability final blows in the Crucible or in Black Armory Forges, super final blows in the Crucible, defeating bosses without leaving the Verdant Forest, and we can see ability kills in strikes, and something here which is pretty interesting, trigger Revelric Light with precision final blows in Crucible or Gambit. And there are a few of those for different activities, no idea what Revelric Light actually is, potentially some kind of new mechanic that'll be featured inside of the event. But nonetheless, these are a few examples of those daily bounties that can be used to work towards Arbalest. So yeah, Arbalest is a purchasable exotic by grinding the new content and bounties in the Revelry. And that's why it possibly makes sense now that it is listed as a rare or random drop, because much like Thunderlord, it could well be introduced into the general random drop loot pool after the event. So let us know your thoughts about that, and we'll touch on some other stuff regarding quests and exotics in a moment. But there are other new bounties for the Revelry, and these are weekly variants which actually grant powerful Revelry armor pieces. So Verdant Explorer, for example, will grant you a powerful Revelry head engram, so you can actually pick up the event or activity specific armor pieces via bounties, as well as potentially other sources, like random drops in the Verdant Forest. And Revelry's gonna run from April 6th to May the 6th, so a pretty long time. And by the time the event ends, we're only gonna be, 3 or 4 weeks away from the Season of Opulence as well. But nonetheless, those bounties we spoke about for the armor pieces will actually drop the inaugural armor pieces. And this is the activity set of gear for the event, but at the same time, there is an Eververse armor set as well. Some folks actually had a glitch at reset where they showed up in the Eververse inventory, but we can now also see some other exclusive rewards. So on top of the armor pieces, we've got some new emotes, ghost shells, and ghost projections as well. There is the Circumpolar Light Sparrow, as well as the Ectinocrial Edge Sparrow and the Mayfly Ship, and these will be rewards from the Jubilant Engram that we get for the event. There are going to be some pretty cool emblems as well, so Simulant Spring right here, earned during Revelry 2019, and the Virescent emblem, which is earned as a rare drop in the Verdant Forest by defeating 2 or more bosses in a single run during Season of the Drifter. So that's pretty cool, and there is going to be a couple of new exclusive shaders as well, like Verdant Chrome and the Verdant Crown. But back onto the conversation of exotics though, we were wondering if the second free quest for Season 6 would be Arbalest. However, based on what we know now, it would be pretty strange to describe acquiring Arbalest as a quest since it's more of a kind of purchasable item, much like the horror story from Festival of the Lost. And so, it now looks much more likely that the next exotic quest will be for a classified kinetic weapon, and we can see a slot for this in the collection. We don't know what the weapon is going to be, but the slot is essentially a collection placeholder that appears to be reserved for the arrival of the weapon. So while it isn't 100% confirmed, this will likely be the reward for the free seasonal quest, which as far as we know, quick spoiler alert right here, but it is likely to feature a return to the old tower according to some data mined info. So I'd love to hear your ideas about what that weapon could potentially be, and Bungie did confirm though, if you're wondering, that the return of the Thunderlord quest this week is not the exotic quest for this season. It may seem pretty obvious, but the question was asked, so I guess there you go. So yeah, I think on the whole, the Revelry's looking pretty cool. We're certainly going to be able to acquire Arbalest during this event, as well as those other armor sets and exclusive rewards, and possibly another exotic inside of a mysterious quest as well, so pretty cool stuff. Let me know your thoughts about it below. Up next though, something that happened after the update this week. A lot of people were asking me about it, but there was a pretty extreme enhancement core farm that folks had actually found. And as a result of this, there is actually a fix to the exploit which could affect some players. So Bungie Help said, due to an exploit, we have temporarily disabled the acquisition of Season 6 Pinnacle weapons until a fix can be deployed. Now basically what this means is you can still complete the quest for a Pinnacle weapon right now, but at this precise moment, until Bungie get this fixed, players aren't actually able to pick up the weapon from the respective vendor. Bungie did confirm though that Pinnacle weapons earned right now will be able to be picked up after they get a fix out. But what was happening, for folks who had already completed Pinnacle weapon quests and had multiple characters, but hadn't already picked up the reward on each of the characters, players were able to continuously reclaim these weapons and then break them down for enhancement cores. And of course, that did result in players being able to pick up literally hundreds of enhancement cores. So definitely a very crazy exploit. I thought I'd give you a quick update on what it was, and the fact that Bungie have actually made a change right there. Much like the issue with the Sentry armor set, could be pretty frustrating if you're trying to complete stuff, but hopefully that fix will be in the game very soon. So let us know your thoughts about that one as well. But I did want to briefly talk about the Catalyst perks and upgrades. Of course, some new ones have been introduced into the game, and we had a rough idea of what the bonuses would be as well as how to upgrade them. But for the Rat King right here, this one drops in strikes and nightfalls, but to upgrade it, only Rat King PvE kills by Fireteam members will advance the objective. So that's pretty crazy stuff to actually do the upgrade. But once you have the upgrade, it'll give improved aim assist and recoil direction, as well as refreshing health on Vermin invisibility trigger, so pretty crazy stuff. For Saurus Regime, it does feature an increased chance for kills to regen health, so it's not guaranteed, but it's more likely to regen health whenever you make a kill, and I believe that one requires 300 kills inside of PvP with the weapon to do the upgrade. The Hardlight Catalyst grants it 25 stability, which actually maxes its stability out, but if you do pick the Catalyst up to get the upgrade, you need to defeat 1000 enemies. And then finally for Prospector, once again you have to make kills, and it just has the percentage tracker like the Rat King, but it does grant greatly increased blast radius, so let us know down below if you've picked any of these up yet. Good luck if you are hunting for them. But some of the random updates you may not have noticed yet, you can now preview exotics on different classes. So if you're on a Titan or a Warlock, you can now preview Hunter exotic armor, and you have this kind of cool space mannequin type thing in the place of the character. Of course, Bungie made a lot of adjustments to ARC subclasses, and there have been some loot adjustments as well, and you can check out my recent video if you want the full breakdown of those changes. But it's safe to say, there's some pretty significant buffs to drop rates of things like the Ghosts and Sparrows, ships and all that kind of stuff for Dreaming City titles. You know, for example, the Dreaming City ship that comes from Shattered Throne had its drop rate increased from 2% to 20%. And that 2% drop rate that we used to have kind of tells you why the thing was so rare. So that and many other good changes are listed in those patch notes linked below. But guys, for today, I think that is going to summarize the video. It looks like we've got some pretty interesting stuff to look forward to next week with the Revelry, and I'm sure Bungie will give us more details about that later on this week. Otherwise, have fun with the Arc Week stuff, let us know which subclasses you've been enjoying, or if you've picked up any of the new catalysts. But if you've enjoyed the video guys, a like below is super appreciated. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit subscribe to see a lot more D2 content. Also be sure to check out my friends over at Gamerlink. They have a fantastic LFG app for Android and iOS. Destiny 2 is featured on the app as well, so you can use it to find players, or to set up a clan and build persistent teams to tackle content and all that good stuff. So check that out in the description below if it sounds interesting. But otherwise guys, for now, I appreciate you tuning in, and I hope you have an awesome day.